Guns. G-U-N-S? What the hell happened to all the guns? For an original to embrace the inclusion of firearms in their world, they had pistols, revolvers, shotguns, SMGs, and rifles. And then Dying Light 2 comes out, and we get this right here. Finger guns, doom shotguns, boomsticks, nothing that will be giving you that 30k plus damage like the original. A majority of the guns that are currently in Dying Light 2 are tied behind Easter eggs. The finger gun you could keep and craft as often as you would like. The doom shotgun was specifically for one mission, but players were able to find ways to glitch it out and keep it, but that did get patched. The boomstick, well, you just get the upgrade, you craft it, it's alright, it's nothing special. You might remember from E3 2019 that they showcased a weapon called the Scorpio, and then the game came out and this weapon was nowhere to be found anywhere. And it wasn't until very recently where data miners and modders were able to restore old game files and force this weapon back into the game. When I did my interview with Timon Smektala, he did inform me that the Scorpio may be making a comeback.
With the Scorpio, no promises, but I think it will make a comeback.
He said this, and then a couple months later, it gets re-added into the game files. It's still not available at the time of this video being recorded. He does say that the Scorpio didn't really have a place for it in the structure of the game, which is why it was removed. But with new player progression, they could make it work in the future.
Then we decided we don't really have a place for it in the overall structure of the game. But since we have some ideas how to offer new player progression.
That's a particularly interesting topic because if you go back to E3 2019, the Scorpio was actually a weapon that Aiden just picked off right off the floor from an enemy that he just murdered. As he says, they didn't have a place for it, so most likely the Scorpio here was just added for demo purposes. But now they may want to add it back, which is something that we have seen before with them. Old cut content making its way back into the game through a form of player progression. I'm talking about the E3 2019 outfit. This outfit made its way back as a reward for doing the Into the Footsteps of a Night Runner challenges and leveling up Harper. The community begged for this outfit to come for months, and we finally got our wish. Something similar could be coming very, very soon, but with the Scorpio. All of this is good information to know, but this leads us to the big question. What the hell happened to all the guns? And there are two answers. There's the game design one, and then there's also the in-game lore one. When Dying Light 2 was first being developed, they were going for a Dark Ages vibe. Whether or not they hit that mark in the final version of the game is up to your interpretation. But when you go back and look at old trailers and footage, you can see instances of this occurring, people getting hung, public executions, and much more. And because of that mindset, they decided to focus on more medieval ranged weapons. This was something that occurred over time through development. There were certain scenarios and situations where the community did believe that guns were making a return. Remember E3 2019? Frank gets shot. You can hear a bullet flying over your head and hitting Frank.
About that.
Frank! Fuck! Knew it! Of course, when you play now, Frank does go and get hit by a crossbow instead. The decision to move away from guns was certainly a bold one, but was it a warranted one? Vanilla Dying Light guns were incredibly overpowered in my opinion, and any Dying Light veteran who played since launch could kinda tell you that. Techland wanted to focus on the melee weapons, different ways to kill the infected in the sequel is certainly understandable, but was it the wrong choice? I have my thoughts, but I'm curious to hear yours. Do you want guns returned or you do not want them? Now, of course, this is only the game design reasoning for them not including it into the sequel, but what about the other side? What about the in-game lore? What does the story say about guns in Dying Light 2? Let me tell you about it. So it starts when the world outside of the walls was completely crippling and starting to become chaotic. Inside the walls, aka Villador, there was an army that was controlling and overseeing the city at the time. It was led by General Pratt. Over time, things started getting much worse outside of the walls, and then the army desired to have more weapons to retaliate. General Pratt then ordered the army to confiscate the civilian weapons, and any private ownership was completely forbidden and punishable. This decision led to a lot of civil unrest, protests, and riots started breaking out because the citizens didn't know how to protect themselves anymore. Curfews were then being put in place, and then the army started raiding homes to find any extra weapons that were laying around. On March 6, 2024, everything started to reach a boiling point, and the event known as the March Massacre occurred where the army killed 64 civilians protesting against weapon confiscation. The army started shooting at people, panic broke out, making things a lot worse. The army had their hands on all the weapons and ammunition, while the citizens had absolutely nothing. This incident was the downfall of General Pratt and the rise of Colonel Williams, also later known as the Butcher. This is all confirmed when you get to the history quiz quest, where a historian will quiz you on the history of Villador. After a bit of back and forth dialogue, he does eventually say the following.
This shooting was the beginning of escalation of riots in the city, which finally led to the fall of General Pratt and Colonel Williams taking over.
It was Pratt's idea to confiscate the weapons, but the part that does get a little tricky and open to interpretation is the role of the colonel. Was he ordered by Pratt to kill the citizens? Did the colonel take it upon himself to fire at the 64 people? Whatever the answer is, it results in Pratt losing power and Williams rising up to it. What's particularly interesting is that this side quest ends with the character saying the following, claiming that history needs to be told from generation to generation and to not allow it to be so easily rewritten for you. However, if you look closely at that memorial, it says on this site on March 6, 2024, 64 people were murdered in cold blood by soldiers loyal to Colonel Williams. Like I said, open to interpretation. Was he truly behind it, or are characters in the game trying to pass this off as something else and framing him? The shooting makes Pratt lose power, but Williams rises up to it. Did Pratt step down? There's a little blur of events right here, lore-wise. Community has been saying that this could be an example of history trying to be rewritten in-game, which goes in line with what the character said at the end of the quest. Goes in line with history being fragile and something to pay attention to. Regardless of the fine details, a shooting does occur because of angry protests against weapon confiscation. It was the beginning of the end. The army soon ran out of ammo, and then firearms just became obsolete. There are hidden legends that a secret stash of ammunition is hidden somewhere in the city. Pratt may have a secret stash somewhere on this map, who knows? Could this be setting up for a future DLC or potential mission in the future? I truly do think so. A quest where you need to uncover General Pratt's whereabouts or his secrets could make for a compelling story. Trying to find Pratt's stash could even be the second story DLC. The reward would be exceptional and beloved by many. The Dying Light wiki does suggest that General Pratt dies in late 2024, the same year as the March massacre, but it is unclear whether his death was related to other officers trying to overthrow him. Timon Smectala actually does entertain this idea as well. He did say that there's also a quest that explains what happened to the guns and that the army could have had some in a hidden stash. Who knows? Maybe this stash will be uncovered. But friends, is this something interesting to you? Do you want guns to make a return in Dying Light 2? Comment your thoughts down below and let me know. If you do want to go and see some more great content from me, click on the 2 following videos right here. See you later. Bye bye.